everyone, and welcome to episode 120 of the KeenGamer podcast. Slightly different makeup this week. I'm your host, Jessica Orr, and I am joined by Daniel Boyd. How are you doing, Dan?
I'm good, Jessica. This is the first time I've been on with you hosting, so let's see if you've got what it takes to replace the late great Mark O'Callaghan as if he's died.
He's not dead. Let me just just clarify that. Mark's
R.I.P. Mark. Always in our heart.
He's dead from the podcast now. You couldn't make it one week.
He's dead.
You're gone. You're dead to us, Mark. No, Mark's taking the week off. But this shamble of a podcast will go on with me as host. And we are celebrating Star Wars because it's Star Wars Celebration. So the main topic is going to be all of the announcements and news, gaming, TV shows, and even some non-related Star Wars stuff that snuck in there at the Star Wars Celebration in 2022. And as always, we start with the games we're playing, and then we go into the biggest news topics of the week, and then we'll cover all the Star Wars. Check out the timestamps below. And at the end, we have trivia for just Dan.
I mean, this is like a penalty shout. If I miss this, then, throwing it away, to be honest.
Yeah.
Basically,
this is your chance. This is your chance. To just have trivia, because I wasn't throwing away those 3 minutes of research, So we'll get right into
It's all content.
Yeah, not wasting my time. We'll get right into the games we're playing. And Dan, who reviewed this for KeenGamer, if you want to give a recap of your score and your thoughts and what Sniper Elite 5 is like.
Yeah, so I spoke last week I was on about reviewing Sniper Elite 5 for the website. It was my first review for KeenGamer, and I ended up scoring an 8, which I think last week I said it was between a 7 and an 8. So I also got my hands on a PS5 over the last week.
Congratulations!
Thank you. It was my birthday during the week, so it was actually all down to my other half. It was a present, so I wasn't expecting it. So when I got that, I went ahead and downloaded the PS5 copy of Sniper Elite 5, which came along with the PS4 version. So kind of got to review the game on both, and way more than I thought it would. The PS5 enhanced that experience. Like, I didn't think it was a bad game in PS4. It was fun. It was fine. It was a slightly upgraded version of the last game, but on PS5 with the haptic feedback, the triggers, it just felt better to play. The sniper rifle felt, more responsive, and it was a much better experience on PS5. It looked pretty much the same. It maybe ran a wee bit smoother, but other than that, it just felt better to play.
Load times? Did you notice any?
The load times were gone. Also with PS5's SSD, it wasn't. Again, PS4, it wasn't egregiously long. It was. It's noticeable when you go to PS5, but it wasn't like, like some games that got really, really long load times. It wasn't, atrocious. It was fun to review. It was fun to kind of play it before everybody else and get my review out. So check that out on the website to get my more detailed thoughts. But yes, it was fun. I finished it on PS4, and then I played like the first half of it, the first third of it in PS5. I've not finished that again on PS5 yet because I got other games and I was kind of trying to get a feel for a few games. But no, it was great. I enjoyed my time with it.
How long is the campaign then?
I think it's not too meaty. It's like maybe about 15 hours.
Okay, that's decent. Honestly, that's more than like a Call of Duty.
Yeah, I mean, it depends if you're completionist. I think the first time you're probably between 15 and 18, and then if you've played it before, you're probably between 12 and 15, round about there. And then if you want to platinum it, you're 20, 30 hours plus. But yeah.
So would you say you've played the other Sniper Elites, right? Would you say this is your favorite?
For me, four's my favorite, I think, because that was really when I got on board. I'd played 2 and 3 kind of in passing. I don't know if I'd played them in a mate's house or a demo, or I never owned them, but I'd played them. Like just wee bits. In fact, I think 3, that's a lie, but 3, I think it was 2 that I played. And then 4 came out, and it eventually came to PlayStation Plus, but I actually got it before that. I think it was just on sale at one point in a PS Store sale or something, and I just thought, download it and try it. And really, really enjoyed it. played it all the way through. Thought it was great fun, loved the mechanics, and then I actually went back and tracked down the second game and the third game and played them, because I enjoyed the fourth one. And then when it came to PlayStation Plus, that's when I went back and actually platinumed Sniper Elite 4, which was a bit laborious, but it was fun. And it was one of the games that I enjoyed enough to put that amount of time into it, that amount of legwork into it. So I don't know if I can see myself going that far with this new game, which is why it's maybe not up there as much as Sniper Elite 4. But as I said, it's a bit of an advancement gameplay wise to the past games in the series. The characters always felt a bit stiff and a bit wooden, whereas in this game you're way more kind of free flowing. You can jump through small gaps, and you kind of feel like Spider-Man with a sniper rifle for certain parts of it.
That is a great. I hope that was your review tagline. Spider-Man with a sniper rifle.
It should have been. Yeah, instead of webs, you fire bullets, but way more lethal.
Write this down, Marvel. Write this down.
But no, it was great. It was great, and yeah, the kill cams obviously more detailed, and the gun feels better. It feels more. I don't know. There's a weightiness to those games that I feel like is missing for a lot of other military shooters. I don't know if you can class this as a military shooter, but just I think we like Call of Duty and Battlefield even. The guns feel a bit light and a bit, like toy guns almost. Whereas in Sniper Elite, it feels like you've really got a significant weapon on your hands, and it kind of. This is I don't know, about a strange comparison, and I was going to mention this in the review, and I thought I don't know if people will get this. It kind of feels similar to how Kratos' axe felt in God of War, just with the power of it, and when you throw it and you grab it again, that kind of satisfying tactile feel that it's got. It's quite similar to the sniper rifle and the Sniper Elite games. But yeah, it was fun. Enjoyed it.
That's fun. One last thing, I saw you mentioned in your review you couldn't really do multiplayer matches. Have you been able to do that? Is that an aspect that you like of those games?
I haven't tried, to be honest. I'm not a multiplayer guy at all, really. I play like Call of Duty Warzone with my friends, but that's like because I know those folk. I know somebody to go on and just play a game with randos for the other side of the world. That's something that I maybe did in my teenage years, but something that I feel like I'm a bit old for now. I mean, some people love playing their games that way, and that's fair enough. But I'm way more of a single player guy these days. I like just sitting down and taking in a nice narrative story. That's kind of my jam.
So when you're getting old, isn't it? Just give me a nice single player.
Just something that no distractions. I can switch off and just sit and deal into this game.
You don't need to keep up with a freaking battle pass and challenges.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you still need to do the updates and stuff, but anyway.
Well, that's just modern gaming, unfortunately. RIP to the old gaming. What you got is what you had. Yeah, that was cool. That was Sniper Elite 5. I actually wanted to check it out, but I didn't really have a lot of time, especially because it was on Game Pass.
Right, yeah, of course.
This one's really cool. And we'll go on to basically the only game I've been playing, except for we're just complaining about it, all the live service games that I play. It's called Little Witch in the Woods, and it is in-game preview on Game Pass, which is the only reason I knew about it. Sarah Bond of Xbox Microsoft Gaming tweeted about it, basically saying it was a witch version of Stardew Valley. And as soon as I read the tweet, I closed Twitter and went and downloaded it. I was like, you've sold me. I've never played Stardew Valley. I've always wanted to, but the fact that this was new out and just like, if it's like you're playing as a witch, literally it's your little witch in the woods. Spoilers. Nice. And like I said, I've never played Stardew Valley, but from what I've heard of it, it definitely seems like just a witch version of it. Instead of like farming, you make potions. So you go and get your ingredients. It's like a top-down perspective, sort of pixel art, but drawn characters that you see when you're talking to someone. Your goal is to basically get a village back because some giant white thorns or something have taken over it and everyone moved out. And you're trying to get them back. You have a hat that talks. It looks very much like the hat from Harry Potter. There are quite a lot of Harry Potter sort of references in this. So I'd say if you're a Harry Potter fan, but you're not such a fan of J.K. Rowling, you might want to check this one out. And the main thing of this is buying those potions and trying to get those villagers back. It's such a simple concept, but it's so addictive. And that word gets banded around all the time, but it really is like a wholesome game. It's like, do you want to just like a charming, lovely game to sit down and like get semi-addicted to. I was playing it for 4 hours the other day, and I didn't even realize. I was like, Jesus, I've got stuff to do. What am I doing?
I've done that for a long time. That says a lot when a game can do that.
The last one that did it to me was Elden Ring. So it's not obviously on Elden Ring proportions. This is a game preview. But it's cool. I feel like from the description, you'd know if you want to play it or not. It's got lots of little cute things, like you go around in a broomstick. That's your fast travel, basically, mechanic. There's loads of little animals, which is a big thing that reminds me of Harry Potter. Like there's even like mandrakes in it and everything. It's cool, and it's part of the subscription if you've got Game Pass. It's by a Korean developer called Sunny Side Up, who I'm not familiar with. But
is it PC you're playing on?
I'm playing on Xbox, but it is
Right.
on Steam, and I believe you can do it in game preview on PC as well if you have Xbox Game Pass. Yeah, there's not much more to say about it. It will be added to you. It doesn't really feel like an incomplete game to me at the moment because I'm guessing fairly early on. I got like one villager back. And there's a couple you need to get in and another side with the thing. So I don't know where it ends, but
Looks
if it
like,
does,
just scrolling through the images, it looks like there's a lot of menus. That's the first thing I noticed. Just these
it's not
orange
too
boxes
bad. It's
with
kind of
the
like
menus, and I'm like, oh.
you open that up, excuse me, and you get like a recipe. So you look at it and you're like,
Right.
oh, I need to go get this blue moon butterfly,
Right, okay.
and then you work it out, kind of like Bug Snacks. You're like, how do I get this?
Sure. Or Subnautica, or yeah.
Yeah, like you get your crafting resources and then make it in your cauldron, and it's that loop of finding this stuff to get. There's like high priced items every day in the game. So you're like, I might as well go this, get my money so I can do more quests easier later on. So that stuff you can kind of keep doing whenever the game preview stuff like ends. It's just a really lovely chill game, kind of like how I played Lake. I don't know if you ever played Lake. It was just a really chill experience to go and play. And like I love like I'd play Sniper Elite, Call of Duty, like a shoot 'em up or something, but just feel like something nice and charming. So I went to Little Witch in the Woods, and it's great. I recommend it.
Is it voice acted or is it just text?
No, so I don't know if they're gonna add it, but I don't think it really
Right.
needs it. If I'm honest, it kind of looks like a half visual novel when you're talking to people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got some funny dialogue too, and also some of your villagers are animals. It's like a 50-50. Is this going to be a human? Is this going to be an animal? So yeah, a nice little game if you want something a little bit more chill. And it's part of the subscription if you've got Game Pass, but it's also on PC, on Steam at least. So that was Little Witch in the Woods. And Dan, you're playing a very highly regarded game at the moment. It is Miles Morales. Is this the first time you're playing it, or?
Yeah, so there was a bunch of games that came out that in the last year or so, well, Miles Morales is probably a couple of years old at this point, but round about that sort of time period that I was like, do you know what? I'm going to wait until I get PS5 to experience these. They maybe weren't enough because Miles Morales is kind of Spider-Man 1.5, between the first game and the second game. It maybe wasn't enough to make me go out and buy a new console as soon as it dropped, but it's looked good enough that I was like, do you know what? This deserves to be played on next gen, so I'm gonna hold off. Because I picked up a bunch of games recently because of that. Like Guardians, I hadn't played that game, so I've picked that up. Far Cry 6. What else? Deathloop. I mean, that's only next gen, but there was sort of some games that I was like, when I get a PS5, I'm going to pick these up. Miles Morales is the first one that I've actually played. Probably because it's one I was most excited for because of how much I loved that original Spider-Man game. And yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'd already seen tons of gameplay for it and sort of had a rough outline of what the story was going to be with the Tinkerer and stuff. But it's nice just to experience it. It feels as good as it looks. When you watch somebody else playing it, you think, well, this would feel amazing to play. It does. The fighting's great, the swinging's phenomenal, even better than the Spider-Man game, in my opinion. Just the way that Miles moves in comparison with Peter, I just prefer it. It's way more dynamic and it feels more random. Like, obviously it's not, it's programmed animation, but it just feels more, I don't know, more spontaneous and kind of free-flowing. So yeah, it's great. And the voice acting is phenomenal. It's the same guy from the original game that does Miles, and the rest of the cast are great, and the story's entertaining. I really enjoy what Insomniac are doing with their take on the Spider-Man sort of lore. So yeah, it's been great fun, and it looks amazing as well on the big TV and the PlayStation. So yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, one thing I really liked about it as well, I didn't complete the first Spider-Man because it felt so good to play, but two things. It felt it's not compared to like Ubisoft games, but I felt it was a little bit bloated sometimes with the stuff that you had to do.
Okay.
And I didn't really like the story in it. It just really didn't hook me at all. I love the Miles Morales. I love like the sort of like little condensed stuff you get in Miles Morales because it is kind of like a half game, I guess. But it doesn't feel like it ever. I love the little cat you got in the backpack. Like that motivated me to complete the story so I could just go and do the side stuff with the cat in the backpack. I really did like the story and I loved all the characters in this, and Miles' powers were really cool. I saw people say that it would be weird going back to Peter Parker after you've played with Miles, so I'm interested to see what they're going to do with the next Spider-Man.
Tell you what's weird, seeing that new Peter face. I've not played
That's right.
Spider-Man since they changed the face. It's horrible. I hate it.
Yeah,
the
I mean, I
original
don't want to
was so
be
much better.
one of those people, but you're like, why?
Yeah, just leave it alone. It was fine.
Yeah.
But seeing what else was really cool was seeing New York in the snow.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of New York. We've been a couple of times and I really like the place. And I love anything in the snow. I feel like the snow just makes games look nicer. So yeah, it looks great. Swinging through the city in the snow is awesome. And it kind of also just feeds into your hype for the sequel because we know that's coming. So sort of knowing that that's coming up, just it really gets you excited for it.
Are you excited for Wolverine? Are you a Wolverine fan?
Yes, yeah, very much. I'll take Wolverine. What I'm interested to see though, I feel like a Wolverine game. I know that the movie was crap, but see that Wolverine Origins game, that was incredible. I loved that game.
I've heard this.
However,
yeah,
I really like. I mean, it was, to be honest with you, it was a bit of a God of War clone, but it was the most kind of fun, accurate, pulpy comic book game that kind of came out in that era. And yeah, it was great, and it had obviously the likenesses of Hugh Jackman and stuff. So it was though extremely brutal because I mean, as it would be if you had 12-inch claws coming out your hands, then heads would roll. I was in the Bryan Singer movies. I never enjoyed it. It was just very much stabby stab. I much prefer Logan where it was a bit more graphic. So yeah, that's the question though. I think for this new game, because it's Insomniac and they've done that Spider-Man game, which it's more of a kind of teenagers demographic, I'd say. I don't know if they're going to go as sort of dark and as brutal as they might have to with a Wolverine game, but we'll see. Naughty Dog pulled it off when Naughty Dog announced a zombie game. I was like, the guys that done Uncharted, it's not going to be that dark. And then it was like, oh, hold on. So, it can be done. Studios can sort of take themselves more seriously or less seriously as it suits. So, yeah, we'll see. But no, I'm very much looking forward to the Wolverine game. I mean, I don't think we're getting it anytime soon. I think it's going to be a good couple of years away. But when it comes, I'll definitely check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, same. With me, it's like I love Insomniac. Like I've always been a Ratchet and Clank fan as well. They just keep on doing like I'm not the biggest Spider-Man fan and I'm not the biggest Wolverine fan. So I'm like, why can't you just pick a Marvel character I really want to play with? But I'm still excited because they just have like fantastic people that work on the gameplay. Like regardless what the story is like or anything, I love the feel of all the Insomniac games. So yeah, more from them is incredible.
I like the idea that it's like you guys have Spider-Man, we gave Avengers to Square Enix, they made a bit of a mess of it, so Insomniac like, right, give us Wolverine and we'll just do the whole universe. That's the thing with Insomniac. I remember when that Wolverine game got announced, you had Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart just coming out, you had Spider-Man 2 being shown, Miles Morales wasn't that far in the rear view mirror at that point, so it was like, how do you guys sleep? Like, what is going on at that studio? It's insane, their output's crazy.
I really hope they're
really high quality.
Yeah, crazy crunch because it's really good for us as consumers. But yeah, that is a really high game release rate for a studio. Yeah. But yeah, excited for the next Spider-Man. I'm glad you're enjoying Miles Morales. I very much enjoyed it as well.
Fantastic.
Now we're going to
music's great too. The soundtrack's phenomenal.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I can't believe we didn't mention that. It was really good. It stood out like yeah, like that's the Miles Morales like thing. Like Into the Spider-Verse did it so well as well. It was really good, and you like you said as well. It looked beautiful, so good. You'd like, yeah, I'm playing the next gen game when I was playing Miles Morales.
Yeah.
So I think good shout on you for waiting for the PS5.
Yeah, worth it.
So yeah, we're going to go into the news now, and the first thing I'm going to talk about is the Horizon Zero Dawn TV show on Netflix, the God of War TV show on Amazon, and what's now been announced as the Gran Turismo movie. I was like, yes, when I saw that something was happening with Horizon, because I'm I'm a fan of the games, but I'm actually not a huge fan of like the gameplay. It just doesn't connect with me or something. But I think it looks beautiful. I always
Mhm.
wanted a movie. I always wanted a movie of it, so I'm a little bit disappointed it's not a movie.
Mm.
But if Netflix pumped a good budget into this, I think it'd be really good. I hope it doesn't turn to one of those like I watch them like those teeny Netflix stuff. I hope it doesn't turn into that with this though. I think it'd be really good if they put
Mm.
money into the production of this. God of War, I'm actually pretty excited for it, even though I'm not a huge God of War fan. It just doesn't like Horizon doesn't connect with me with the gameplay as much as it does other people, but the stories are always really awesome. Be interested to see if they do like the Greek mythology or the like the Viking stuff.
Yeah.
And Gran Turismo, I have no idea what that's going to be, but I'll watch it. What are your thoughts on these announcements, Dan?
I mean, Horizon again. I totally get what you're saying about the game. That first game, it looked great. I remember seeing the trailers at E3 and stuff before it. The gameplay systems looked really dynamic. The UI was quite intriguing, and the character and the world, the fact it's a future, but it's like the caveman days, and it was an interesting sort of setting and idea. And then when you played it, the first half an hour, 40 minutes is great. You're fighting these big, awesome robot dinosaurs that's looking phenomenal. You're having to nail the shots. But the problem is, once you've killed one robot dinosaur, you've killed them all. And that was the whole game, was just killing robot dinosaurs. And it was like, it dragged on so long for me. See, by the fifth, sixth hour, I was like, can this end? And I was only about
Yeah.
halfway through the game. It was so long in the tooth. I felt that was my issue with Horizon. But like you're saying, I feel like the world and the characters are ripe for an adaptation. Well, that said, to be honest with you, I did skip a lot of cutscenes. But again, by the halfway point, I was like, let's just get this over with. But hey, I'm willing to give it a go because the CGI will be interesting, or
Mhm.
maybe they'll do it practical. Who knows?
I
And the
would
fact
love
that
that. I would absolutely love it if they had the balls to do it practical. That would be so
yeah,
good.
use like puppets and stuff. Yeah, that'd be really
Mhm.
interesting. Or models, even or scale models.
Mhm.
But yeah, the fact it's coming to Netflix, interesting because I feel like now with these sort of video game TV shows, we know that The Last of Us is coming on HBO, and obviously we don't know yet because we're not even seeing a trailer. But just for the behind the scenes and the way that sort of the cast and stuff have been talking about it, I feel like that's going to set a really high bar for
Mhm.
video game TV adaptations. And I wonder if these series are going to live up to that. I mean, Last of Us might come out and be rubbish. I don't know, but just from what I'm seeing, it feels like it's at a slightly higher quality than I
Yeah, I
expected.
mean, like, it's
Um,
HBO, like, Netflix is
that
great, but
too.
you get a HBO show, you're like, "Yeah, this is, like, a
Yeah,
50% higher chance this is gonna be great."
it's a stamp of quality, definitely.
Mhm.
But at the same time, though, talking about God of War, I feel like that's more along those lines. It's a bit more, maybe a bit more epic in scale. There's a bit more gravitas to it. And I mean, they've been talking about God of War for years. I remember Vin Diesel and Dave Bautista were getting talked about to play Kratos like 10 years ago. So we'll
They
see.
do
But
like taking their time. Look at Uncharted.
yes, yes, exactly. I know. I
Yeah.
remember, I mean, what's his name? Mark Wahlberg was originally going to be Nathan Drake, and they waited that long that he ended up being Sully.
Yeah,
Not that he was a good
he
Sully,
aged
but
out of
that's
the
beside
role.
the point. Yeah. But yeah, I'm interested to see the sort of landscape because we've also got is it a Twisted Metal TV show with Anthony Mackie,
Yeah, I was gonna
and
mention this because I have absolutely no interest in Twisted Metal at all, but just from the cast, I wanna watch this. It's got Neve Campbell, Stephanie Beatrice, and Anthony Mackie in it. Like,
yeah,
I'm
I
for that.
always liked those games in a sort of arcade way back in the PS1 days.
Mhm.
It's not really a franchise I've thought about for years, to be honest. But yeah, I'm definitely intrigued. And then also Ghost of Tsushima is also getting a movie
Yes.
adaptation.
Yeah, I'm glad it's
So
getting a movie.
I'm interested to see. I mean, Sony have always been sort of known for their more narrative experiences, like Ghost of Tsushima and God of War, etc. But things like Twisted Metal and Gran Turismo, it's like, how do you turn that into an entertaining time? It was like when Rampage came out with The Rock. It was like, how
That's
are they going to
right, yeah.
manage this? Um, and with Gran Turismo, you understand it when I mean that Need for Speed film with Aaron Paul wasn't great, but Need for Speed as an arcadey sort of racer, with a bit of character. Gran Turismo's a straight down the line simulator. Like I like
Yep.
Gran Turismo, but it's one of the most boring games you can play. Just on a purely sort of viscerally entertaining level. How are you going to tell a story through that? I mean, maybe you get like Ron Howard and you do like a kind of Rush type movie, like with Nicky Lauda and stuff. I don't know, but I'm curious. But I do have a sort of perhaps a morbid curiosity towards it.
Yeah, like,
We'll
I'm
see.
really interested because, like, you're right, like, you can totally see, like, if Forza Horizon was made in the one, you're like, "That's so arcadey and over the
Mhm.
top." You could totally do a
Yeah,
movie with that. But with this, you're like, "Yeah, how do you do it?" Like, I played a
yeah.
little bit of the new one and, like, it is, like, they kinda try and put, like, a classy vibe to it, so you pick up,
Mhm.
like, information from a cafe, and you go out and you get your car, and it's like, I have no idea what you're doing to make this, a movie, but I feel like it's just gonna be the Gran Turismo name slapped on a
Yeah,
Need for Speed type
a
movie, you
racing
know?
movie. Yeah.
Mhm.
Just stick Vin Diesel in a Ferrari and see what happens.
Yes.
Um, but I also it just made me think, what about Drive Club? I mean, I guess we'll just forget about Drive Club at this point. That's just one and done. That just never happened. That game. That was such a shame. What happened to that studio? It was horrible the way that went
Yeah,
down.
apparently it didn't, like, even sell that bad, if this is the game I'm thinking of.
It was that launch PS4 game, yeah, and then they dissolved the studio and basically blamed them for not selling the
Ah,
game. It was
don't you love it?
yeah.
Mm. Speaking of Sony drama, the PlayStation Plus, new overhaul launched in, certain Asian territories this week? Last week,
Mhm.
technically. Sorry, we're a bit late with the podcast. Last week. And due to a technical error, for PS Plus users were being charged like a money on top of their discounted PlayStation Plus subscriptions. So there was this thing going around where you could stack your PlayStation Plus subscriptions and get a discount for when it did this overhaul of the PlayStation Plus tier system. And when it launched in Asia, I think it was Wednesday,
Mhm.
people were saying that they were being charged an extra on top of it, and I would have no idea how PlayStation or sorry, Sony knew that it was the discounted code, but they did, and they were charging them more. They say it was a technical error, but there was an apparent email, somebody shared saying that, "Yes, this is how it is, and you have to pay on top of it," but they rolled it back very quickly, and this article I'm reading from Video Game Chronicle, makes the point that they're pretty sure this was just them trying their luck, basically. Sony got
Yeah,
caught with their capitalist pants down, trying to see if it would work while they were rolling this out, and it's a good thing they were rolling it out, because the backlash was a lot. Dan, any thoughts on this?
Scummy companies will be scummy companies. It seems. Like you're saying, no, about that other article, they're not the only ones to call them out. I just happened to open a Push Square article, and their headline is
Mhm.
Sony officially backtracks on the PS Plus discount scandal, claiming it was an error. Nice try. So it seems to be sort of ubiquitous across the gaming press that this was just an attempt at pulling the wool over PlayStation fans' eyes because it just seems so crass, doesn't it? So money grabbing and so cynical.
Yeah, basically just let's see if we can get away with it in this first territory.
Mhm.
See where we can take it from there.
But at the same time, and this might sound a bit cynical and a bit sort of depressing, but I'm not surprised.
Mm.
I think I don't know. I mean, I think if you're a gaming fan and this takes you by surprise and you're surprised this is the way that companies act, it's all about the bottom line and it always has been. You know, sometimes it's more obvious than others, and when it's made obvious, it is ugly and it makes you kind of realize, what it's all about. It's a business, but yeah, I don't know. It's just
Yeah, I feel like some
it's not
companies are
nice
way
to be
better at
reminded of
hiding
that.
it.
Yeah,
Sorry?
it's not nice to be reminded of it because, like you're saying,
Yeah.
some companies hide it and you kind of almost forget about it, and then it's like, oh,
Mhm.
that's right, they're all just rich guys in suits trying to make a buck.
Yeah, like, I feel like Xbox has got this, like, good guy image at the moment, but, like, they're just trying to get your money as well.
Yeah,
They're more aware, I think, than Sony and Nintendo of their
Unf-
image,
yeah.
so
Well, yeah,
they
probably.
try.
I feel like I wonder if that's just because they feel like they've got more to live up to still from that whole
Mhm.
debacle with Xbox One. I feel like they're still trying to claw back the reputation from there.
That's a good point.
I don't know because I think PlayStation haven't really stumbled since then significantly, and I think companies need to stumble. I mean, the pendulum swings. It's always been the case, and yeah, I don't know. It's just it's sad because it's your pastime and it's your hobby and it's something you're passionate about, and then you wonder, are these guys as passionate or is it just all about the money?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, on that news, when it launches in your territory, it's rolling out over the next month. I believe it's next in Japan, and then the US, and then Europe. You won't have to worry about this because the error has been fixed. So if you did
Yay.
buy PlayStation Plus to stack them, you'll still get that discount. Hopefully, unless they backtrack again.
We'll see. Yeah.
We will see, yeah. And our last piece of news here, and it'll be interesting to get Dan's thoughts on this because it is the Lord of the Rings Gollum game has a release date. It's been announced on the 1st of September, and it's coming out for PC, PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox One, and Series X and S. And it's being developed by Daedalic, who haven't had any major releases. This is definitely the biggest thing that I've seen that they've done. And I'm a medium Lord of the Rings fan, and I will definitely play this when it comes out. Dan, you said you don't really like Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, so we were speaking the pre-show. I did say I don't like Lord of the Rings. That said, I've always had a wee soft spot for the Lord of the Rings games. Although I think the movies are some of the most overrated films ever made, and I'm not a fantasy guy whatsoever. The games, especially those recent ones, the Mordor games, I enjoyed them. That Nemesis system, I think, is one of the greatest gameplay systems ever implemented in a game.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of games, I know that has been copied over the years, but I think even more games could implement it. And even back in the day, like the movie tie-in games, that 2 Towers game where you were kicking the ladders down at Helm's Deep to stop the orcs and stuff, like it was great fun, especially if you had a mate doing couch co-op back in the PS2 days. So yeah, those games I've always had a bit of a soft spot for. Gollum as a character, though, I'm like, how compelling do you make this? However, reading through this article, because I literally knew not much about this other than, so I'd seen some of the, when Gollum was announced, I was like, okay, they're doing a game about Gollum. I'm not sure why, but let's see what happens. And then I seen some screenshots and I was like, oh, that looks rough. It was just, I don't know if it's the design of Gollum, but he just looks, I know that he's an ugly character, but my god, he's ugly in this iteration. They've made, like, his skin looks weirdly smooth. He kind of looks like a big
it's his
baby.
eyes for me.
He's got huge Disney eyes or anime eyes. It's so strange, and he looks just wet all the time, like he's just moist the whole time.
He's swimming for fishies.
Yeah, I don't know. The design's just strange. Maybe they're trying to get away from the movie version and maybe lean more towards the books, which I know nothing about. Maybe that's the case, but yeah, I don't know. It just seems like a strange idea for a game. That said, reading through this article here, which came out from Inverse, in the wake of this sort of updated information, it's saying that it's sort of split personalities will feature it in the game, and that sounds like quite an interesting system. I mean, we've all played these multiple choice games like Mass Effect and stuff, where you choose the good option or the bad option. But in this game, there is actually a reason for it. Gollum is that character with that split personality. It's not just Shepard being an asshole sometimes and being a nice guy other times. There's an actual sort of narrative reason for it. So I think that could be quite interestingly implemented. How much can you sneak about the bushes though? Like how?
Yeah, well, I was interested in your perspective this because I know you're a big Metal Gear fan, and while it does have shitting and like boss fights and stuff, this seems to be like pure stealth. So, is it the stealth element you really like about Metal Gear? Like, do you think it would translate well in this? It sounded pretty cool. Like you throw a rock and then the orc like goes over a cliff. Like that sounded pretty cool to me. Trying to plan that out.
Yeah. So ironically, I have never been a stealth fan. I like stealth games. I like Metal Gear Solid. I like Splinter Cell. I like Hitman. But I'm the type of guy that just walks in and machine guns all the soldiers. And
I am the exact same, Dan. When I play The Last of Us Part 1, I throw smoke bombs and beat people up with bats.
Yeah, like earlier when we were talking about Sniper Elite, and yeah, sure, I'll try and keep my cover for as long as I can and nail as many quiet headshots as I can. But as soon as it goes off, then I'm just back
like,
to my carnage killing self. Yeah, it's just get the machine gun out and hope for the best. So yeah, I'm not. I'm a very impatient person, I think, when it comes to that. And I don't know how much. Like that's why I hate puzzle games. Just I don't have the patience for puzzle games. And I feel like stealth and puzzle games are quite similar in some senses because, like you're saying, you have to strategize. You have to think, right, throw that rock over there, go and hide behind this bush, stay there for a few minutes while this person goes away, sneak out in the shadows, etc. I don't know. I don't have that sort of time.
I mean, as we say,
you just cut to the chase.
You just want a single player narrative. Get me to the next thing. Yeah.
Yeah, very much. Which, do you know what? That might be very narrow-minded, and I might be in the minority. Like, this game could come out and be phenomenal and be hugely successful, but I just don't know if it's for me. But do you know what? I'll go in open-minded. I'll wait for the reviews if they're good, and then I'll check this out. Because, like I said, I've always enjoyed the Lord of the Rings games. I just
Yeah,
can't go over the way it looks. The design's insane. Every time I
I
look at it, I'm
actually,
like, oh,
yeah. It wasn't when I was reading this article, and I saw the pictures. I kind of skipped over them. I just wanted to read what it was like. I forgot what he looked like, so
yeah,
you reminded me of that. Like, yeah, boy, his
yeah,
eyes
he's
look
ugly.
so strange. Yeah, like they tried to put like a Disney princess's like eyes on Gollum. It's not went well. But yeah, I'm pretty excited for this. I'm actually, you've probably played more Lord of the Rings games than me. I haven't really played that many of them. I am a Lord of the Rings fan, and I'm not really a stealth fan, like sometimes. So I'm interested to see how this turns out because all the systems they're putting in sound really cool, like especially that choice system. And like you said, it
Yeah,
does make sense that he's arguing with himself, and there's different choices because you've got Smeagol and you've got Gollum, and they've said
yeah,
right out here, like you're not going to be making any major decisions at the end. Like there's two endings, but it'll lead to the same thing because they're keeping this within the canon.
okay.
So I like that they just said that right out. Like, don't expect anything like majorly different. I'll definitely give this a go, if nothing else, because there's not a lot of huge releases coming in this
Yeah, that
holiday
time of year.
season. Yeah,
Is Andy Serkis involved? Is he on
I
board?
didn't see any mention of his name here. No.
No, I don't see it in the article either. That's a bit of a
Mm-mm.
bummer.
Yeah, he kind of like is Gollum for everyone, but like you said,
Mhm.
maybe they're trying to get away from all the movie stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, Lord of the
'cause
Rings. We'll definitely keep our eye on it.
Andy Serkis is quite a big video game guy. I mean, Heavenly
He
Sword and
is
all these other games he appeared in. That
enslaved, I believe, as well.
Enslaved Odyssey to the West, yeah.
Hmm.
He appeared as himself at the end, which was insane in live action. I remember that.
Really? I never got to the end.
Yeah, there's like I think it's an alternate ending maybe, but yeah, it's like he comes on the screen, it's a big hologram and just talks to you and explains the ending. It's really strange.
Wow.
But yeah, I don't know. It's odd that he's not involved. But I think that would sell him a bit more, to be honest.
Yeah, like if he was doing like the mocap and stuff, because he's really good at that.
We'll
Well,
see.
that was Lord of the Rings Gollum from two not huge fans, but willing to try it out. That was all the major news. We are recording this before the Sony State of Play, so perhaps they'll have something huge for us.
I do intend to cover that when it happens on the website, so updates will be there on KeenGamer.
Definitely follow us for the updates on that. Hopefully we get something, at least one big thing from it, but it is like third-party stuff mostly, isn't that what they said?
Yeah, we'll see.
Yep. So let's see about that. We'll cover that next week on the podcast. And now on to the main topic, which is basically just a bunch of Star Wars news from Star Wars Celebration 2022 in Anaheim, I believe it was this year.
Yeah.
And getting straight into it, straight off the bat, they released a trailer for Andor, which I feel like it's just been like in development for a really long time, or at least it was announced a really long time ago, like when Rogue One came out. So yeah,
Just not long after it, yeah.
Yeah, it's a prequel to Rogue One, set 5 years beforehand, and it is 12 episodes, which is cool, actually.
A sequel.
Yeah, and they've already got 12 episodes in the works, so that's really cool. Did you watch the trailer, Dan? Were you a fan of Rogue One?
I did. Yeah, really enjoyed Rogue One, and I really enjoyed Diego Luna in that movie. I thought, do you know something? This is maybe a bit out of left field, but see, when I saw Rogue One, I thought he would make an interesting Nathan Drake. It was just that scene at the end when he's climbing into that, I don't know, that control room for the Death Star plans, and it's just kind of his whole attitude, and he's maybe a bit gangly for Nathan Drake, but I don't know, just his personality and his charm, and he can clearly climb and move about. I was just like, he would be an interesting Nathan Drake, but never happened. Obviously,
I mean, Tom Holland played Nathan Drake, who is not Nathan Drake, so Diego Luna might have been a good show.
I can't be any far away from the character than Tom Holland's version. But yeah, I enjoyed Rogue One, and I'm interested to see this because, spoilers, they all die at the end of Rogue One. But do you know something? A lot of people are like, "Oh, what's the point? We know what happens to him, etc." Obi-Wan's on now. That's just aired. We know what happens to Obi-Wan. We know what happens to Darth Vader. You know, we're still intrigued. I don't think there's anything wrong with sort of telling the sort of in between / prequel stories. Also, it's Disney. They're going to milk everything for everything. That's what they do.
I mean,
but as far as that goes, though, as far as milking a franchise goes, I think this is a character and an actor that I'm intrigued to see more of. And yeah, I thought the show looked interesting. It looked quite bleak for Star Wars, which I thought was quite an interesting take. And I also heard somewhere that they were doing 2 seasons. I believe they're doing this first season, and then the second season will lead right into Rogue One. So that'll be kind of his
Oh
whole,
yeah, right.
almost like
Yeah,
his whole story. Like we'll see kind of how
the
he started
prequel to
out
the
in the
prequel.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're doing so. Season 2, I think, will end just as Rogue One sort of picks up, and
Oh,
then
so
we'll
they
get
just
his
like
whole
we're
kind
only
of
doing
arc.
2 seasons and that's it.
Apparently, yeah, 2 seasons and
Okay.
that's it. Was
That's
what I heard
good because
today.
then that means you're not left with any like open things like dragging it out or anything. Yeah, that's cool. That's
Mhm.
cool to hear. Yeah, I'm excited for Andor. Rogue One is probably my favorite like modern Star Wars film.
Yeah.
It was really good. Like you said, Diego Luna was great in it.
Mhm.
And I'm pretty excited for it. I don't think with Star Wars for some reason I never think the TV shows like trailer well. Like I really like the Mandalorian didn't look great to me. I just didn't get
Yeah.
excited, but yeah, like, I love the TV show. So I'll definitely check it out. But the trailer didn't really like do a lot for me. But that's just a
Mhm.
personal problem. And KeenGamer gaming big thing here. Jedi Survivor was finally officially announced, and officially it's coming out in 2023. This was all like leaked not too long ago, actually, by Jeff Grubb, I believe.
Mhm.
And yeah, they've dropped the Fallen Order name, and it is Star Wars Jedi Survivor. It still has Cal Kestis as the main character, and
Mhm.
it is 5 years after the first one.
Yeah.
It looks good, but this is a CGI trailer. And I'm just happy it officially got announced. Because the longer it took them to announce it, the longer it was going to come out, basically at
Yeah.
the end of like 2023 or something. I really loved the first game. It was really, really good. I hated the map though, got lost a lot.
Mhm.
So I can't wait to see what they're gonna do with this sequel. I wonder why they dropped the Fallen Order name though, like because Jedi doesn't really that's not really a
No,
strong title for me.
I hate the whole naming scheme. I hate the fact that like when I wrote for the old website I wrote my review for Fallen Order, and see having to write
Mhm.
Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Like, just pick a name, Christ. Like what's going on here? It's ridiculous. And then as you said, yeah, just the word Jedi. Like just get
Mm,
rid of that. Just call it Star Wars. What's it called? Survivor. Just call it Star Wars Survivor. Like
yeah,
why do we need the Jedi subtitle? It's insane. But
yeah.
yeah, honestly, I found it quite hard to get hype for this one because I was so let down by that first game. I really, perhaps naively in hindsight, went into that game wanting a similar experience to what we expected from Star Wars 1313. When Fallen Order was announced, I was like, okay, it's not Project Radtag, but it's a third-person Star Wars adventure with a fresh character, with platforming elements. Looked quite Uncharted-ish in the trailers. He's swinging through ropes, he's grabbing onto platforms, etc. This could scratch that itch. And then I played it and I got a Dark Souls clone that didn't really feel like a Star Wars game. And you played as a Jedi who I found extremely whiny, insufferably whiny. Never really felt powerful. I felt like for a Jedi, it just felt a bit, I don't know, like you don't even fight Darth Vader, you just run away from him. It's like, okay. I don't know, the whole thing just felt underwhelming to me, that first game. And the Inquisitors, the sisters, were horrible, terrible villains in my opinion. I never really got behind that villain idea. But I'll check out a sequel. I mean, this didn't really do much for me because it wasn't gameplay. Like a CG trailer, it's hard for me
Mhm.
to get invested. But I mean, it was pretty vague. Like we don't even know who's in that Bacta tank. A survivor, I
Yeah.
guess. Maybe he's the titular survivor. I've heard people online saying maybe it's Starkiller. Um, I don't know, would that work? Because I don't
That
think
would be very interesting, actually. Yeah,
I don't think
Starkiller
the Force
from
Unleashed
The Force
games.
Unleashed.
Yeah, I don't think Force Unleashed games are canon any longer, but they own the
Mm.
character, so why not? Also, he was a better protagonist than Cal Kestis, but that wouldn't be very hard.
He was
Like a really
charming.
good
I
hard
will
film.
agree with you. Cal Kestis wasn't really incredible. It
I
was
just struggled with, and I enjoyed that
yeah.
actor. I enjoyed him in other things. I didn't think he was in Gotham, wasn't he, playing Joker? I didn't think he was horrible or anything, but it was just the character the way he was written. He was so. I mean, Star Wars protagonist, Anakin and Luke, they're always kind of whiny, but yeah, I don't know. I really struggled with that.
Yeah, I will agree. I think it was the weakest part of the whole thing was his character and the story. I did
Mm,
like the supporting cast though. I thought they were good. The opposite. It didn't really give me Dark Souls vibes. It gave me like It did give me a little bit like Tomb Raider and Uncharted, but I totally get what you're saying with the combat system. I kind of cheesed the combat system a little bit. Like I put the difficulty down and was just like, getting the blasters with my lightsaber and just trying to use my force powers and blast through people. It was more the exploration that I really loved. Like I love Star Wars games from going to different planets. It was really, really good to me. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty big, I'd say, this sequel.
Yeah, but do you know what they should add? They should add the fast travel system back to the ship. Because see that
Yes, please,
scheme
God.
where you've got the sort of mini what do you call it? Like the sort of base on the ship that you go from planet to planet, and then when you get there, you get to the end of the map, wherever, as you said, you get lost about 8 times, and you're like, right, I'm here now, and then you save it, and then all the trips reappear again, then you need to fight your way back. Like it
I
felt like
hate it.
busy work. A lot
I
of
hate it. I had to go back and I do some of the Microsoft reward stuff sometimes. That gives you points and you can get like free games and stuff. And one was just like get an achievement in Jedi Fallen Order. And I bitted it up after a couple of months from playing it, and it took me about 40 minutes to be like, where the hell am I? Where do I go to this bit? How do you do this? It wasn't very friendly. So number 1 request, sort out that map of fast travel system, please.
I feel like that first game, it had potential. It just didn't land for me. But I'll definitely follow that sequel and check it out because I like Star Wars. I want it to be good, but I don't know. It may just be more of the first game, which is kind of what I'm afraid of. But we'll see.
Yeah, like maybe this time, I don't know. Maybe it's like it's not going to be like Uncharted, like going into it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
temper expectations, maybe. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that was Jedi Survivor, not Fallen Order 2. Another thing I wanted to talk about, some of like the stuff we didn't actually get to see, just to like gauge your excitement about it. Like there was apparently an Ahsoka show off to people at the convention, but we didn't get to see it. Also Mandalorian season 3, like trailer or teaser for people that were there. Kind of sucks we didn't get to see that, but I guess it kind of encourages people to go to these events next time. Interesting thing about the Ahsoka teaser, apparently it did have Star Wars Rebels characters in it. It had Ezra and Sabine, I believe. I haven't seen the full Rebels. I only started season 1. Is it something you've seen? Like, are you excited that they're like basically bringing these animated characters in even more?
I know nothing about the animated stuff, to be honest.
I haven't seen the Clone Wars, no.
No. No, I've never really been interested in animated stuff. I know that Dave Filoni worked on a lot of that, and he's kind of the one responsible for bringing across characters like Katie Sackhoff's character in Mandalorian and stuff like that. So if he's behind it, then I kind of trust his creative vision to bring him out of live action, go for it. But I don't really know enough about it to comment, to be honest.
Yeah, I like it. I only watched a little bit of Rebels. Ezra, it's cool that Ezra's coming in.
He's a main character, right? And he could.
He's the main character.
Sorry? Am I making that? Could he time travel at one point? Did he go into like a time zone and he went through?
I haven't got there, but I believe so. Yes.
I just remember the internet freaking out that they introduced time travel into Star Wars at the time, and then that's when I discovered this Ezra character. But as I said, I know very little about it, to be honest.
Yeah, I believe that happens later on. Yeah, I feel like it's a good way for them to kind of explain if they ever wanted to do like multiverse stuff as well, like going between universes and stuff. They kind of did a little bit of that in the Clone Wars as well, which was a random episode. Yeah, Clone Wars is good. I feel like take everyone's advice and like do a list of like the essential episodes, because some episodes are just such high quality and so well written. Like they're some of the best Star Wars content you'll see, and some of them you're like, yeah, this is for kids. As it was meant to. But that last season of the Clone Wars was done. It was so good. It was better than like 75% of all Star Wars stuff like out there. It was really, really good. I'd recommend it. Rebels hadn't really got, like, I got so used to the Clone Wars art style that Rebels kind of threw me a bit. I know people don't like the Clone Wars art style because it's got like it's very jagged. Like the lightsabers have like jagged tips and like their jaws are all jagged.
2D one? Is that like 2D animated? No, is it 3D? Right.
Yeah, 3D. Yeah.
There was a 2D animated Clone Wars show, was there not?
There was. Getting mixed up? Before that one. I could never get into that. Yeah.
God, that sounds like hard work. That sounds like work.
There's a lot of Star Wars content. Like I consider myself a really big Star Wars
probably
fan,
not canon anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. That's it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's that stuff. It is cool that they're bringing it in, but also a little bit alienating if you have not seen this stuff. Like,
sure.
Like you hadn't seen Clone Wars and there's Bo-Katan. You're like, who the hell's Bo-Katan? but that was all like we didn't get to see any of that. Another thing we didn't get to see, we just got an announcement of the title and Jude Law's face was Star Wars Skeleton Crew. It is a Disney Plus original series set to launch in 2023. It's created by Spider-Man No Way Home's John Watts and Christopher Ford, and it follows a group of 10-year-old kids from a small planet who get lost and must try to find their way home. It takes place after Return of the Jedi and fits in with the timeline of The Mandalorian and Ahsoka. So basically, it just sounds like they're building this like Marvel-esque universe during this timeline. It's hard to get excited about this because it's just an announcement in Jude Law's face. I don't know about you.
They love setting things after Return of the Jedi, don't they? That's like their favourite period at the minute. Yeah, it sounds kind of like Stranger Things and Star Wars because of I guess, with the group of kids. To me, the most interesting aspect is the involvement of John Watts, because John Watts left Fantastic Four recently.
Right.
He was meant to be doing a Fantastic Four movie, and just not long after No Way Home came out, he announced that he was no longer doing that. So I wonder if, obviously it's all Disney, I wonder if the Star Wars crew have poached him and says, hey, come and we'll offer you a wee bit more money, come and work with us.
And it is coming out next year, so like presumably like they're filming soon or have already started filming.
Yeah, it's interesting. But I'll see it. I like Jude Law. I like Star Wars things. I mean, there's so much of it just now that it's kind of hard to keep track of all the names. It's like what one's the Bad Batch and what one's like. But we'll see. We'll see. More is better, usually, sometimes.
Yeah, well, I suppose it's like throw it at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah, that was my whole takeaway for this kind of whole convention. I was like, I guess more is better in Disney's eyes.
Just going back to, sorry, I skipped to the Mandalorian season 3 and with that Ahsoka stuff. What was revealed was apparently a bit of conflict between Mando and Bo-Katan, Kitty Sackhoff's character. I'm excited that Mandalorian's getting a season 3 because I did not really enjoy Boba Fett. So I'm glad that it's going to focus on the Mandalorian and Grogu. Bit weird if you're just jumping from season 2 to season 3 and you hadn't seen Boba Fett. Which I know isn't a lot of people, but like someone like my best friend, she literally only watches it for Baby Yoda. So,
or like me, I actively stopped watching Boba Fett because I thought it was garbage, and then it turns out, hey, you kind of need to watch it to watch Mandalorian, and I'm like, oh shit, no, I need to go back and sit through that, and I'm really dreading it. Like honestly, it's.
Where'd you get to?
The one before Danny Trejo. I know Danny Trejo was in it, but I've not seen that one yet. So like the first 3, I think I watched.
Oh, right. They were actually, Dan, my favorite episodes because I was like, oh, you're doing this stuff with the Sand People? This is pretty cool. Let's see.
Yeah,
and then
I couldn't get
bored with that. I think the third one it was pretty bad. With the gang and everything, right?
Customized their speeders. Yeah, I think that was where I fell off. That's what I was like, I don't need to watch this, I told myself. And then it was like, oh no, you do, because Mark Hamill is came back for it and it's going to tie into season 3. And I'm like, yeah. Again, it feels like homework. It feels like you need to watch it to be up to date, which is a bit frustrating. But if it wasn't for that, I mean, I love those first 2 seasons of Mandalorian. If it wasn't for Book of Boba Fett, I would be super hyped for season 3. But see, at the minute, like the fact you're saying we didn't see a trailer and stuff, I don't care because I've not seen Boba Fett. So I'm like, I don't know. It really doesn't matter much to me at the minute. I probably will get into it at some point, and I'm sure when it comes out, I'll be hyped near the time. But at the minute, I'm like, well, I just can't be bored watching Boba Fett.
It's just reminding you have to go back.
My vibe. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was like. Oh, I need to watch that garbage show. Yeah, that was my takeaway. But
the only other thing is they announced that it's coming out in February 2023, so that's your deadline. You've got a while yet for Boba. Do it in 5-minute bursts.
I'll put it off for a wee while, I think.
Another thing, I don't think we'll have anything to say about this, so I guess I'll just. Bad Batch season 2 is coming in fall 2022. Still haven't seen Bad Batch. The clone episodes were like hit and miss for me in Clone Wars. They were some of the ones where it was like, well, this is clearly just for kids, and some of them were actually like really good. Like they really went into like the Order 66 stuff, which was cool. I have no idea how Bad Batch was received because I kind of mute everything to oblivion on Twitter about Star Wars. I'm like, I don't need your opinion. It's okay. But
Bad Batch was received well, I think. Again, I'm not really knowing that well what it's. I know it's about the clones, and I think it's after Order 66, but I think it was received well.
I'm glad. I will watch it eventually, but there's, like you said, just a bunch of Star Wars content. And they were kind of hit and miss for me in the Clone Wars. But yeah, if you're a fan of that, it's coming out fall 2022. And another thing I haven't seen yet on Star Wars is Star Wars Visions, but I know it was because I forgot to mute Visions, so I got content on that on my Twitter. It was apparently received pretty well. It sounds very cool. It was like animated. I think they had different animation styles for each episode, and it's like short stories. And I love like anthology stuff, so I'm.
Is Visions the kind of anime one?
Yes, yeah, and
Yeah.
I think it had different. I'm not sure, but I think it had sort of different
Kind of Love, Death and
variation.
Robots type
Yes,
idea.
yep, exactly.
Right, okay.
It's officially returning in spring 2023 with Volume 2. So that's both of our deadlines and everybody else's to see Star Wars Visions as well. And let's see, this stuff is just a bunch of stuff that Hayden Christensen and Ian McDermott said. I found it weird that they were like giving stuff away from Obi-Wan during this before it premiered as well. It's like it's a day later.
I think they showed the first episodes though at the conference. I remember when I watched that highlight video today, Hugh McGregor, when he was on stage, was like, "We want to invite you all back tonight to watch the first two episodes," and then everybody went, "Woo!" as they do at these conventions. There's a lot of that.
Yes, side note, me and Dan were talking. I tried watching the convention because I was doing some work, and I was like, I'll just have it in the background, it's fine. It was too much for me, and I had to turn it off after 15 minutes. It was very American in the worst way possible. There was only one person who seemed like they were an actual human being. Everybody else was like, okay, and you're programmed to be a human and go. It was a lot of trying to get people hyped, but it's
it seems so falsified and forced.
Yeah, so thick. I got 15 minutes to turn it off, and I was like, am I the only one? Talked to my brother, he did the exact same thing.
Fair enough.
Yeah. One cool thing that I thought about this, I'm going to sink even more money into Star Wars. Have you seen this, Dan? It was the Lego Star Wars BD-1 from Fallen Order.
Right.
It's 90 quid. And it's just
is that the wee droid thing?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay.
And I don't even like Lego all that much. I'm like, I need this. You can pre-order it today. It costs £90 in Great British pounds. I don't know about anywhere else. Probably like
you can pre-order Lego. That's insane.
Lego's huge now. This is honestly one of the things I was most excited for, but my bank account sure isn't. I actually thought this was really cool. Like it was a Lego Star Wars Summer Vacation. It's those little shorts you get on Disney. I haven't seen any of them. They're definitely for kids. I like the poster though, because it was Star Wars Summer Vacation. You see Rose, Rey, Finn, and Chewbacca going on a vacation after defeating Emperor Palpatine, but the beach ball is shaped like the Death Star, which I very much appreciated.
So is that the first post? What was the last one called? Rise of Skywalker. Is that the first post Rise of Skywalker piece of content as a Lego thing? Because that would be really quite funny.
I don't know, because they've had other they have Lego holiday specials and all like that. But You're right. I think their post content is in Lego.
If they don't have Palpatine turn up at the beach and then Poe Dameron saying somehow Palpatine returned, then they've missed a trick. Like that line needs to be in there somewhere. The greatest line of dialogue ever written in cinema.
Yeah. I'm not going to get into Rise of the Skywalker on this podcast. Maybe another one. Another thing that just got announced with barely any information. Star Wars is getting a High Republic kids show. Like this is definitely aimed at kids, not like Bad Batch where you're like, nah, I'll watch that. It's going to be on Disney Plus and Disney Junior, and it is set in the High Republic. I know you're into comics, Dan. Have you been reading the High Republic comics? I haven't.
I know that's so kind of big just now. And I know one of the games we're getting set in the High Republic era is that the
Quantic
Dream game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't seem like the sort of era that's sort of ripe for kids content. Like it seems like a super political, highbrow era of Star Wars, right? How are they going to do that?
I don't know. I haven't really been following it. I thought all the art styles and stuff that I've seen of it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is it says here, aimed at pre-kindergarten children, so young kids stuff. Just trying to spread everywhere. Star Wars.
Imagine trying to watch, I know you get some hardcore diehard Star Wars fans out there. Imagine trying to watch all this content. You'd go insane. Like, it would drive you to madness.
Yeah, like I said, I consider myself a pretty big Star Wars fan. There's like 4 shows I still haven't seen. Like
Pulp
it's
Fiction's
worse
an
than
easier watch.
Marvel. People complain about Marvel. It's like,
Nuts.
oh, you need to have seen the last films, like Star Wars. You need to have seen the last fucking 6 series. As an aside, this was one of the bits where it made me turn it off. They showed off Indiana Jones 5. I think it's concept art. It's not even a photo.
Right.
Of Harrison Ford crossing a bridge with some light on him, and everyone tried to get really hype of it, and somebody was like, "Yeah, look at his hat." I was like,
The same hat he's been wearing for the last 60 years.
He's got a flashlight. Wow, it's all popping off. That was revealed there.
It can't be worse than Crystal Skull, so that's something, right? They would have to go really, really hard to make it worse than Crystal Skull.
I'm not gonna say I'm a Crystal Skull apologist, but I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it since when it first came out, and I went to the cinema, and I kind of liked it. So, although my favorite Indiana Jones is Temple of Doom, which I know is people's least favorite, so I'm probably.
Too.
Oh, really?
No, I'll back you up on that. I don't often hear other folks saying that, but yeah, that's my favorite too.
I mean, it's not to go on another aside here, but it's clearly got a lot of problems going on with it, but it's just got like a really creepy vibe going on with it.
Yeah, it seems to be the darkest one, but when I was young anyway, that's how I remember it. Yeah.
Yeah, like it was like, I think famously, like it made, what did it make in America? Like they had to make up a rating for it. Was it 15 or I can't remember what their ratings are. Yeah.
Remember
or PG-13, that was it.
Sorry, it just came to me. Remember that it was when PS3 was coming out and they showed a couple of screenshots for an Indiana Jones game at the time. It got cancelled after that, but I remember he was fighting on top of a tram. I feel like it might be in like San Francisco. He was like punching Nazis on top of a tram. And it was going to be like a kind of Uncharted-esque semi-open world kind of Indiana Jones narrative, third person climbing, weapon shooting.
Here we go. Indiana Jones and the Staff of Kings. This is the Google snippet. Due to severe quality issues, it was decided to cancel the project in early. What is severe quality issues?
Because I believe Harrison Ford was like signed on and stuff.
To be fair, he would do anything for money. So that doesn't surprise me, actually. Yeah, and it was announced in 2005.
Yeah, there's something, I don't know, there's something endearing about Harrison Ford's utter indifference to the franchises he's involved with. Like that, I love that interview where they ask him who shot first, Han or Greedo, and he just looks right down the lens and goes, "I don't care." I love that. He doesn't care because why would he?
So grumpy.
It's great.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah, so that was all that from an image. I'm excited for the new game from. Is it Machine Games? Is that their name?
Yeah, it's Bethesda published, right?
Yes.
But I heard it might not be exclusive. I read that the other day. It might be coming to other platforms.
Oh, really?
Other than, I don't know if this is fact, if this is just a rumor, but I did read the other day that they're talking about bringing it to sort of multi-platform. I don't know what that means, but yeah, it was just a headline I saw, to be honest, and I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. But we'll see.
Honestly, I don't care. Like, more people, cool, go ahead. You know, I'm sure the fanboys are loving it.
The movie, although we don't know squat about it now, it's James Mangold, and we know that James Mangold can tell an interesting story about a sort of fallen older hero, you know, after Logan. So if it's anything like that, then I'm excited for this.
Yeah, like where Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was camp as anything, this would go down a darker route. Yeah, definitely.
That sounds interesting.
One other thing that was shown, I was surprised by how excited I got through this. I know you said you don't like fantasy. I've never seen Willow. Like, I kind of skipped my brother said apparently it was pretty big when they were growing up. In the 80s, it came out in 1988, starring Warwick Davis. I thought the trailer looked really good for the Willow Disney Plus TV series. Like, I really want to go watch the movie just to see this series. It's kind of hitting those fantasy vibes for me. Like, I've kind of put off watching Wheel of Time, and like I'll watch the Lord of the Rings thing when it comes out, but I don't know, this one's just like getting me excited more than any of them did. Have you ever seen Willow?
No, never seen it. And I didn't even watch this trailer because I've no interest, to be honest. But good for Warwick Davis. I mean, he's not really had a starring role since that first Willow film, so good for him getting sort of back on the screen. Is it a series or is that a movie?
Yeah, a series on Disney Plus.
Right. Cool.
It's a sequel set 20 years after the original, and a lot of the
Right.
original cast returned, including him. Yeah, I was so surprised. I found it so good because I was willing to skip Willow because I'd never seen the movie.
It does make you wonder though. Maybe this is just me, and maybe this is a sort of outsider's perspective. It doesn't know what they're talking about. There's probably massive Willow fans out there, but you're doing a Willow series. Like, are we really scraping the barrel that much at this point? Like, Disney Plus has only been going a few years, and we're already doing
It was
Willow.
big. It was big. Apparently, my brother was like, "Oh yeah, Willow. People loved it."
Listen, they brought back, what was it called, the Dark Crystal puppet thing. So why not Willow? I guess
everyone's just like, "Did it come out in the 80s? Let's try it. Let's try it."
Yeah, give it a go.
Yeah. Something I'm pretty excited for, but it's not the biggest news ever. Laura Speller actually did a story for this over in KeenGamer. She's basically our news queen. You can follow her for a lot of the latest news. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, The Sith Lords, is getting released on Nintendo Switch, and it is being remastered by Aspire, who did the first one, and they are doing the remake of the original Knights of the Old Republic as well. I will buy this definitely the day it comes out. I did it when KOTOR came out on Switch. KOTOR, the first one, is like my favorite game ever, and the second one is a really good game for like being made in a year. And they're also bringing out, I think it's a patch with it. Like, it was basically a fan-made mod of a added story content, and it helped with the performance. And it's being added to this, so you get like the full Knights of the Republic 2 experience that people like modded it on PC got, which I thought was really cool. I've never played it like that. I've just played it on the original Xbox, so I'm excited for it. You a KOTOR fan?
So, my history with KOTOR is a bit spotty because it was one of the games that came out for Xbox exclusively, and I never had an Xbox. So I never played it at the time. I played it years later when I got a PC, and I'm talking 10, 12 years later, and trying to go back to it at the time, I was like, what is this? It was so sort of cardboardy, and the graphics were horrible, and I really struggled. However, it was something that I've always kind of wanted to like, because it's, people love it, and, it's BioWare's kind of embryonic stage, and it's something I've always wanted to check out. So my question is, are these the Aspire remaster? Is that Switch exclusive, or is it coming to other stuff? Is it coming to PC or?
Because this one's just been announced for the Switch. I know it's backwards compatible on the Xbox, but that doesn't include the mod. And I know it's out on mobile. And actually, I believe Aspire did the mobile ports as well. And I have the first KOTOR, and it was actually a really good mobile port. Like, it wasn't annoying, the controls. And it is like, I know you said like it's kind of a little archaic, the movements, but that works on mobile. You don't need to be so quick. You can kind of like plan out moves and take your time. I'll have to have a quick check for you here.
I'm excited for the remaster, sorry, the remake. I'm excited for that, but I would also be curious to go back and kind of experience what everybody experienced back in the day. But obviously, it's hard to do that with that original game because it's very dated at this point.
No, just Nintendo Switch. This version's coming out. You don't have an Xbox. You just play on your PC, don't you? Xbox
PC and PlayStation.
Yeah. Do you have a Switch? Actually, I don't think I've ever.
No.
Oh, you don't? Oh, yeah.
Not Nintendo guy. Last Nintendo system I owned was a Wii.
I recommend the Switch. That's really good.
Yeah, I've heard it's good, but it's not for me. I'm not a Mario platformer guy, to be honest.
Well, but, actually, if you've got the PC, the Steam version with those mods, you can get those mods for free, and it's real cheap on Steam. And it's a really good exploration of, like, the first one feels really not cheesy, but do you know what I mean? Like, that sort of A New Hope vibe. Whereas 2 is more of an exploration on, like, Grey Jedi and what somebody like, you're an exile. You're not the same person as in the first one. Like, you've been exiled from the Jedi Order, and you kind of have this like Grey Jedi mentor called Kreia, and she's a little bit annoying because every time you do something, she's like, "Ooh, but you could have done the bad option, and that's why what you did was bad." And then if you do the bad option, like, "Ooh, but what about this person? And what if you'd done the good option?" It's a really, I feel like it's a better story than the first one. Besides the twist in the first one, I don't know if you were spoiled with that.
Probably. I'm not sensitive to spoilers, so I probably don't remember.
I'd recommend KOTOR 2 over KOTOR 1 for the story.
Do you know what?
Coming...
The most appealing version sounds like the mobile version. I might check that out.
Yeah, it was definitely up for the mobile. Yeah, I just checked it there. And if it's anything like the first one, which I'm guessing it is, it's the exact same. Like I said, it was developed within a year and released. It's the same touch controls, and it's just really easy on mobile.
It's fascinating that Aspire are given the option, kind of do you want to play the remake, or do you want to play the remaster, or do you want to play both? It's not often you get that. Normally it's one or the other. You know, like with Resident Evil, they didn't bring out a Resident Evil 2 remaster along with the remake. It was just like, here's a remake. So
I would love a remaster of the original. Yeah,
with the original dialogue and stuff. Yeah, but it's fascinating that they're giving fans the option. I think that's quite interesting. Never really seen that done. There's probably has examples, but I've never really clocked it.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I feel like maybe it's just like it's in that sweet spot of you can remaster it, it's still a decent game and you can play it, but yet it's definitely time for like a remake for fans, you know, they could cash in on that. Yeah, and that was basically it from Star Wars Celebration. What would you say were the highlights for you? Honestly, my highlight, I swear to God, is that BD1 Lego set. I'm not even really a fan of Lego. Everything else was kind of like just here's an announcement for me. Yeah.
I don't know. Honestly, maybe Andor, but like you said, we've known that's coming for ages. I was really disappointed that it was just all TV stuff in one game. I was expecting a bit more from. I mean, we know there's tons of Star Wars games in development, Ubisoft, and you know, Project Ragtag's apparently back on with Amy Hennig at Skydance.
That's right, 3 at a yeah.
You know, and then Quantic Dreams game we mentioned earlier, Eclipse. Like, I was expecting at least one or two of them, and the fact of getting none of them, I was like, okay. I don't know. I found it really underwhelming, to be honest, overall. But I'll see the shows. I'll check out the Fallen Order sequel. But yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's our thoughts. Just hard to get hyped over these announcements. I'm hoping that maybe during Summer Game Fest and whatever the hell all these places are doing, maybe some tie-ins, even EA is not doing an EA Play, but no doubt they'll have teamed up with somebody to announce something or show off something. Hopefully we'll get more games there, because a CGI trailer for Jedi Survivor, hard to get hype. And with that, we're coming to the very exciting solo trivia question for Dan.
No pressure.
Yeah, you're playing against yourself here. It is Star Wars related, because as Mark says, I have absolutely no creativity when it comes to trivia questions. So we'll just dive right into it. You could probably tell it only took me 3 minutes to research this trivia question. Which of these got the highest Metacritic score? Which of these Star Wars games got the highest Metacritic score? So, A, Knights of the Old Republic. B, Knights of the Republic 2. C, Jedi Fallen Order. D, Star Wars Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2. And I'm going to copy that and put it into the Slack for you.
I'm going to throw out the last two, and I'm going to narrow it down to the two KOTOR games, just because they're so kind of beloved and universally beloved. And Metacritic is the sort of website, I'm trying to think logically. Metacritic, it's not necessarily just the reviews that were put out at the time. It also incorporates legacy reviews. So that's
I'm just gonna, for at least one of these, there were only 10 reviews, and one of them was yahoo.com.
For one of the KOTOR games, or just for one of the four?
Just for one of the games I have listed here.
Right. Okay. So we're going to say that's insane for one of the Knights of the Republic. Okay. I'm going to say KOTOR 2, because I'd assume people were more hyped for that, and it did, as far as I remember, live up to that hype. So that's my pick.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Do. You're wrong. You do not get the catch up on Mark and Noah, I believe. Mark with a K. Yeah. But Mark's, rest his soul, he's gone now, so it's just you and Noah. It was it was the original Knights of the Republic. It got a 93 on PC and a 94 on Xbox. Knights of the Republic 2 got 85 and 86. I'm gonna guess that was performance issues and it being developed within a year. And
Yeah.
there was a lot of cut content. Jedi
Right.
Fallen Order 79 on PS4. This really shocked me. 81 on Xbox. I played on Xbox. It performed terribly.
Oh yeah. I played it
Really,
like
really bad.
PS4, and it was one of the most broken games. I mean, it's EA. I wasn't really surprised, but one of the most broken games I've ever played.
Yeah,
That didn't.
guess
I really didn't enjoy that game in case nobody got that, but yeah, I really didn't help my experience that I had to again
TLDR.
the load times, Jesus, and the
Yeah,
constant just
they were
broken
bad.
environments.
You were escaping some planet. I can't remember which one it was, and it was like one frame like loading in, and I was like, well, this is just taking away from the entire thing. And then Star Wars Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2. The first one didn't have a Metacritic score. The second one got a 91 on PC. That was the one that had 10 reviews.
Right.
GameSpot was there. I don't believe IGN was there. Yahoo was the top one. I give it a 10.
Was that the game? Was that the Star Wars game that it was kind of like a first-person shooter? Like you were over
Yeah.
the shoulder, and then you peeked out, you shot the stormtroopers, and then you had again, and you were wearing the orange jumpsuit.
Can't remember about that, but it was
TIE
definitely
fighters.
first-person shooter. Yeah, and people
right. I
very
think I
much
remember
liked
that
them.
game back in the day.
But yeah, trivia question. I'm going to wrap this up really quickly because what do you know? My laptop's running on a battery. It's a piece of crap. Don't forget to follow us on KeenGamer.com. Check us out. We've got reviews. Dan's got his Sniper Elite 5 review up. We've got plenty of news from Dan does a lot of news. Laura Speller does a lot of news. Lots of news. We've got previews on tech. We also do movies, TV shows, and comic books. Lots of features and lists and all there. I do some horror content. Dan, where can people find you, and what have you got coming up on King Gamer?
So on KeenGamer, I will be covering the upcoming PlayStation showcase, the State of Play. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And I'm maybe doing another review shortly. So I won't say what it is yet because I don't know if it's happening, but down the road I could be taking on my second review. So that would be fun. And you can find me on Twitter at danboyd95, or you can check out my other podcast, which is a Pop Shock podcast, and we are on all good social media platforms and podcatchers and YouTube. So check us out over there.
Awesome. And you can find me at Resi Jessie on Twitter. And for now, that was episode 120 of the King Gamer podcast. Catch us next week when we'll have a brand new topic to discuss. Bye.